Over the years, we've learned a lot about the world's oceans. But no matter how much we discover, there's always more waiting to be found. With that in mind, we're diving in to bring you 15 of the most shocking things recently filmed and discovered in the middle of the ocean. Number 15. Sailor in a Barrel. The ocean has engineered a lot of different tales over the years. We're all familiar with the pirate-like story that's been passed down over the ages. If not an ancient tale from the sea like Moby Dick, you've probably encountered someone who has gone fishing and come back with a deep story to leave you amazed. This is because there's just something about the open sea that leads to amazing things. Maybe it's the water, maybe it's the lack of land in society, we're not too sure. But there's something out there that leads to magic and pushes the boundaries of what we know is possible. With that in mind, we want to talk about a story that isn't exactly Pirates of the Caribbean crazy, but it's pretty close. We bring to you the Sailor in a Barrel. He was a 72-year-old French adventurer who's on the Caribbean island of Martinique, and this is because he had just successfully finished crossing the Atlantic Ocean. That sounds like a tough thing to do, but now imagine being inside a barrel-shaped orange capsule the entire time as well. We're guessing he's not claustrophobic. His name is Jean-Jacques Savon, and he used the currents in the ocean to propel himself across the Atlantic. The journey covered 2,800 miles. Now that's quite an accomplishment. We're still probably going to take an airplane instead. Number 14. Devil's Well. Now we're about to get spooky. It's not every day that you see someone dive into a place that's engulfed in what feels like a curse. There are places in the world that make one believe there's just a bad vibe in that location. Because of this, people usually steer clear. If they're not there, they're usually filming some sort of ghost video or a video to document how spooky that area may be. This might have been the reason for a visit to the Devil's Well. With the name alone, you can pretty much guess that this one's not going to be a walk in the park. So now let's take a trip to the Devil's Well. We promise you won't get cursed. Well, we can't promise that. You can find it in Greece, more specifically on the Athenian Riviera. It's an 11-meter deep pit with a diameter of 3 meters. You can find it at the center of the bay, right where the end of the rock and the sandy bottom starts. There's nothing spooky about it other than its color. So if you're ever in Greece, this is a great place to visit if you want to see something pretty but also different. Number 13. Elvisworms. Unless you've been living under a rock, you're probably familiar with the movie Elvis. It's one of the biggest hits that are out right now, and that's because Elvis had a long enduring history that never seems to diminish. People are still fascinated with how he used to sing, dance, and keep his audiences entertained. He was a once-in-a-lifetime act that will probably never be seen again. Even to this day, his music is being streamed on all different types of music sites. There are still impersonators, and sometimes it feels like he's alive and well because of how remembered he is. This is probably why you shouldn't be surprised when you find out that there's something called Elvisworms. Let's get a little wormy. These Elvisworms, which are found deep in the ocean, light up anything that's near them, almost rainbow in color. They're beautiful to stare at. They almost look fake or some sort of design created by an artist. They're around 13,000 feet underwater in the Gulf of California. They're also known as hungry scale worms. Their name is this because they were first found clustered around the pile of food the scientists had left experimentally on a deep sea floor. So if we can take anything from this one, it's that these creatures in the ocean are both colorful and hungry. Number 12. Elephant at Sea. We've gone over the spooky, we've spoken about some funny situations out at sea, and of course, we've got no problem finding out our fair share of mysteries and discoveries. So what's left? How about a feel-good story that's also pretty bizarre? We're going to move on to the world of elephants. Usually, we see these elephants roaming the plains in places like Africa or maybe a nice zoo. You don't often think about finding an elephant out at sea, and if you did, that elephant would most likely be stranded because, well, elephants can kind of swim, but when you put them in the ocean, it's a different story. Unfortunately for this elephant, this is exactly what happened as it was stranded 10 miles off Sri Lanka's coast. We're sure that this elephant will never forget. It was the Sri Lankan Navy rescue team that helped the elephant after 12 hours of trying to get it to safety. It took not only the team of Navy personnel but also divers and wildlife officials. As you can see in the video, there were a lot of attempts made, but it's not easy to pull an elephant back to shore. They say that the elephant was probably caught up in the current and swept out to sea. It goes to show you that even elephants are prone to the riptide. Always stay by the lifeguard, folks. Number 11. Shark Police Chase. It's no secret that the ocean can be a scary place, and of course we're covering the fact that it can also be a mysterious one. No one's probably going to dispute that, but it's not all doom and gloom when it comes to our marvelous oceans. Sometimes there's a point where it can be pretty humorous as well. Sometimes some stories come out of the ocean that will endure long past a lot of the mysteries that we find. This time around, the funny story, and kind of dangerous story, comes from the fact of a man running from the police, jumping into the water, and then being chased by a shark. It kind of sounds like something out of the Three Stooges, but unfortunately, it happened in real life. So what happened to the man, And how did the cops handle this one? By the end of this one, you'll probably think twice when you choose to run from the police. The story begins with a 20-year-old man who tried to elude police for more than 3 hours by swimming into the ocean. It wasn't only police that he had eluded, he also eluded a shark that was swimming near him. This was all captured by drone footage directed by the Surf City Police Department. The man had been driving way too fast past the police, and this is what led to the chase. The name of the man was Zachary Kingsbury, and unfortunately for him, he didn't realize there was a drone following him. Although it's not good to break the law, we're happy that the shark didn't eat that man. Now it's time for today's topic. A young fisherman on his first ever trip to the open ocean has sparked global intrigue after accidentally capturing footage of what appears to be a massive, hand-like appendage emerging from the water. The incident occurred off the coast of Nova Scotia, where the fisherman joined a small crew for a routine fishing expedition. Excited about his first time at sea, the fisherman decided to film the vast, endless ocean with his phone. As he panned the camera across the waves, he unknowingly recorded something extraordinary. Upon reviewing the footage later, he noticed a massive, pale, hand-like structure rising briefly from the water before disappearing beneath the surface. The appendage appeared to have long, spindly fingers and moved with an eerie, deliberate motion. The crew, initially skeptical, reviewed the footage and were left speechless. Some speculated it could be a giant squid or an unknown deep-sea creature, while others dismissed it as a trick of the light or a hoax. Marine biologists who have seen the footage are divided, with no consensus on what the creature could be. Is this evidence of an undiscovered ocean giant, or just an elaborate fake? The mystery remains unsolved, leaving the world to wonder what truly lurks beneath the waves. Number 10. Anglerfish final meal. As we mentioned before, the world is filled with an ocean that's pretty much still left unexplored. You never quite know what you're going to find down there, and everyday discoveries are cropping up that leave scientists, researchers, and ocean lovers alike scratching their heads in amazement. We may live on land, but oftentimes it feels like there's an entire world living within ours. A lot of us aren't adventurous enough to go into the ocean and explore. After all, you do need to know how to drive a boat and have all that equipment. Luckily for us, some people do this on the regular, and what they found as of late is pretty cool because they're scans that reveal some deep-sea anglerfish. Let's explain. Anglerfish are already known for their terrifying appearance, with their bioluminescent lures and sharp, needle-like teeth, but this discovery takes their predatory nature to a whole new level. The scan revealed that the anglerfish's stomach had stretched to an almost unbelievable size to accommodate its massive prey. This ability to consume prey much larger than itself is a survival adaptation, as food in the deep sea is scarce and unpredictable. Scientists believe the anglerfish's elastic stomach and slow metabolism allow it to go for long periods without eating after such a large meal. The prey, a fish twice the anglerfish's length, was swallowed whole, showcasing the incredible efficiency of this deep-sea predator. The discovery has sparked curiosity about how often such events occur in the wild and what other extreme adaptations deep-sea creatures might have. It also highlights the importance of museum collections, as they provide opportunities to study rare and fascinating specimens long after they've been collected. So what a recent scan has shown us is that it's not just an anglerfish, but it's a final huge meal. It comes from museum imaging experts who have discovered that an anglerfish in one of the collections ate a fish that was twice its length. This constant has an enormous expanded stomach. Well, at least he had a great meal. It's not every day that you get to eat something you love right before you die. Number 9. Glass octopus. Someone has spotted a rare glass octopus and filmed it in a remote corner of the Pacific Ocean. We don't quite understand how it's glass and in the ocean, but this is what we're about to explain. So what happened was there was a glass octopus with transparent skin that was captured on camera in some rare footage. Researchers had been exploring more than 30,000 square kilometers of seafloor in a month-long expedition when they came across this creature. As you can see, it's pretty colorful. It almost looks like something out of a space movie. The glass octopus, known scientifically as Vitriledinella richardi, is a master of camouflage, using its transparent body to avoid detection by predators. Its near invisibility is an evolutionary adaptation to the open ocean, where there are few places to hide. The creature's delicate, gelatinous body makes it difficult to study, as it can easily be damaged when brought to the surface. Researchers used advanced remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, equipped with high-definition cameras to capture the footage without disturbing the octopus. The sighting has provided valuable insights into the behavior and habitat of this elusive species, which is typically found at depths of 1,000 to 3,000 feet. Scientists are particularly fascinated by the octopus's unique anatomy, including its optic nerve, which is unusually large and visible through its transparent skin. The discovery has sparked excitement in the marine biology community, as it highlights the incredible biodiversity of the deep ocean and the importance of continued exploration. The footage serves as a reminder of how much of the ocean remains unexplored, with countless species still waiting to be discovered. The marine scientists who had been exploring the seamounts in the Pacific Ocean have now given us a rare glance at what they've seen. The octopus only has a few visible features: the optic nerve, eyeballs, and digestive tract. And the fun part about the whole thing is that they're rarely filmed. So what we're saying is pretty amazing. It's nice to see something in the ocean that's beautiful rather than spooky. Number 8. Luxury car fire. It's kind of amazing to think that no matter how much technology we have in the world, no matter what graphics are in the movies that we watch or how good visually a video game looks, people are still pretty mesmerized when they drive by a car that's on fire. We don't know if it's because fire is pretty cool to look at or if it's the fact that fire is just randomly happening while driving by. In any case, when you see a car that's on fire, it tends to take your attention away from whatever you're doing. We can't blame you for that, and we wouldn't blame you if you happen to see a car on fire in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and stop staring at that too. That may sound like it's absurd and can't happen, but of course, with how our lists go, that's exactly what did happen. There was a cargo ship filled with luxury cars that caught fire and was stranded in the Atlantic. The fire lasted a pretty long time. The ship's name was Felicity Ace and was around 656 feet long. It had been carrying luxury cars, around 4,000 of them. There were Porsches, Volkswagens, Lamborghinis, and all sorts of cars, but they were no match for that fire. Luckily, everyone on board made it to safety, but still, some pretty cool cars went up in flames. Number 7. Sinking Island. The world is filled with a lot of incredible things that could have their own movies if anyone wanted to write about them. While the world has these marvels, a lot of these astonishing places have changed over the years. According to scientists, it might be because of climate change. This one island is no exception, as it seems to be sinking because of the change in the climate. The scariest part about this whole story is that this island pretty much disappeared in 5 years, and it's all been lost because of coastal erosion. Rising sea levels, caused by melting glaciers and thermal expansion, are one of the primary culprits behind the disappearance of islands like Kale. Scientists have warned that low-lying islands and coastal regions around the world are at risk of a similar fate if global temperatures continue to rise. The loss of Kale Island has also had devastating effects on the local marine ecosystem, as the erosion disrupted coral reefs and displaced countless species. For the families who once called Kale home, the sinking of the island meant losing not just their homes but also their cultural heritage and way of life. Many were forced to relocate to nearby areas, where they now face challenges of overcrowding and limited resources. The story of Kale Island serves as a stark reminder of the urgent need for global action to combat climate change and protect vulnerable communities. Efforts to mitigate the effects of climate change, such as building seawalls and restoring mangroves, have been proposed, but they require significant funding and international cooperation. The disappearance of Kale is a wake-up call, showing that the impacts of climate change are not just theoretical, they are happening now, and they are irreversible. The island that everyone's talking about is the island of Kale. It was once home to many families and even had a rich ecosystem brimming with life, but now, possibly because of climate change, it's underwater, and it only took about 5 years for it to happen. Now that this has happened to the island, we can't help but wonder what's going to happen to some other places in the world. Here's hoping someone fixes the whole climate change issue because that island probably didn't deserve to get sunk. Number 6. Forest of the Weird. Now and then, there's a thing that appears in the world that makes you feel as though you're in an alternate universe or a movie. We love coming upon those places because they can often feel quite mystical, and that's why this next one is on our list. It's one of those places that leaves people in amazement. There's a good chance that no one would even believe it existed because it's also a place that feels like it doesn't make sense in terms of reality. So what are we talking about? We're talking about a place that's coined the Forest of the Weird. There's a big reason why they call it weird too, and if you know how our videos go, then you can rest assured that we're about to tell you. Just don't be surprised by how unbelievable this place is because it certainly defies logic. It was a bunch of divers who encountered this beautiful seascape that had been found around the Johnston Atoll in the Pacific Ocean. The sponges here are unlike anything seen in other parts of the ocean, with some growing into intricate, tree-like structures that stretch several feet tall. These glass sponges are made of silica, giving them a delicate, almost crystalline appearance that shimmers in the light. The ecosystem is teeming with life, as small fish, crustaceans, and other marine creatures use the sponges as shelter and feeding grounds. Scientists believe the unique conditions of the Johnston Atoll, including its nutrient-rich waters and isolation, have allowed this bizarre underwater forest to thrive. The area is also home to rare species that have yet to be fully studied, making it a hotspot for marine research and discovery. It almost looks like it's a painting when you look at it in the video with all its colorful plant life, which is more like ocean life. The array of colors is rather stunning and downright unbelievable. As you can see in this video, there are a bunch of sponge species and things known as glass sponges. This is where the term forest of the weird comes into play because everything down here may be beautiful, but it's also awfully weird. In any case, it's still pretty cool. Number 5. Mystery black hole. The hard part about being a scientist isn't always about figuring things out. There are many hard parts of the job, and one of them is figuring out whether or not you should venture towards something that you know is most likely very dangerous. Of course, the uncertainty is the thing that makes it a hard decision on whether or not you should pursue it. There are just parts of this world that are too intriguing not to check out, even if they're terrifying. This next one is terrifying because it's a black hole in the middle of the Pacific. This densely forested, uninhabited island has researchers wanting to learn more, but should they? That's when the tough question comes to mind. So let's find out what this island has to offer. The black hole that we were talking about happens to be found on Google Maps. Many people were wondering what it was, and it turned out to be a place called the uninhabited Vostok Island. The island is covered in dense Pisonia trees, which are known for their sticky seeds that can trap and kill small birds, adding to the eerie reputation of the place. Its isolation and lack of fresh water make it inhospitable for human habitation, but it remains an important site for studying undisturbed ecosystems. Vostok Island is part of the Southern Line Islands, a chain of coral atolls that are considered some of the most pristine marine environments in the world. The surrounding waters are teeming with marine life, including vibrant coral reefs and rare fish species, making it a hotspot for marine biologists. Despite its mysterious appearance on Google Maps, the island is a protected area, ensuring that its unique ecosystem remains untouched by human activity. It was discovered about 200 years ago in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, about 400 miles from Tahiti. One user on Reddit had pointed out the dark mass on Google Images and wanted to figure out what it was. Luckily, there was some further inquiry into it, and someone found out that it was the island that had been discovered in 1820 by Russian explorers who named it after the ship they were sailing on board. So there you have it. If you ever find something that you can't figure out on Google Maps, someone on the internet will figure it out for you. Number 4. Mermaid Song. In the news as of late, there's been talk about the live-action Little Mermaid that's going to be coming to theaters fairly soon. The cast may look a little different from the cartoon, but as time goes on, things tend to change. Crazy enough, the lure of mermaids has not. When you think of mermaids, we still think of the half-human, half-fish you see in the books, old paintings, and of course those famous Disney flicks. Mermaids have a distinct image that when you hear the word, you instantly think of one thing. You don't often see anyone claiming that they saw a real live mermaid though. Stories of mermaids have been around for centuries, with sailors and fishermen often recounting tales of mysterious creatures spotted in the waves. Some believe these sightings were actually manatees or dugongs, whose silhouettes in the water could resemble a human form. Others argue that the idea of mermaid stems from folklore and mythology, with cultures around the world having their own versions of these aquatic beings. In Greek mythology, sirens were often depicted as mermaid-like creatures who lured sailors to their doom with their enchanting songs. In other traditions, mermaids were seen as protectors of the sea, warning humans of impending danger. The fascination with mermaids has persisted into modern times, with countless movies, books, and even alleged sightings keeping the legend alive. The TikTok fisherman's claims have reignited debates about whether mermaids could exist, with some suggesting that the vast, unexplored depths of the ocean might still hold secrets. While skeptics dismiss the idea as pure fantasy, others are intrigued by the possibility, pointing to the many mysteries of the deep sea. Yeah, where's she at? What the hell is that noise, bro? That's what happened with this one person who was a guy from TikTok, a fisherman who says that he saw real mermaids. The creator has gone all out after posting videos about the weird things that he's seen while out at sea, and of course the mermaids were a part of it. Now, he didn't give any footage or anything like that, but because he's at sea a lot of people seem to believe what he's saying. What do you think? Do you think this man saw mermaids once in his lifetime? Let us know in the comments below. Number 3. Locomotive Graveyard. Throughout the years, transportation has changed a lot, going on from the days when you just had to travel by train. Now there are plenty of cars, planes, and everything in between. But of course, trains still do exist, and when they retire, they have a special home. All trains go to different places, but there's one place that stands above the rest because it's not the type of train graveyard that you would expect. This one has to do with water. You can find this locomotive graveyard in New Jersey of all places, and there have been locomotives preserved 90 feet underwater in this location since the 1850s. The locomotives, identified as Planet Class 222T models, are some of the oldest steam engines ever discovered, making their preservation underwater even more remarkable. Covered in marine life, including barnacles and coral, the trains have become artificial reefs, providing a habitat for fish and other sea creatures. Divers who visit the site describe it as both eerie and fascinating, with the trains sitting upright on the seafloor as if waiting for passengers who will never arrive. Some theories suggest the locomotives were lost during a storm while being transported by barge, but no definitive evidence has been found to confirm this. Others speculate that they were intentionally dumped into the ocean as a way to dispose of outdated equipment, a practice not uncommon in the 19th century. The lack of historical records surrounding their construction and loss only deepens the mystery, leaving archaeologists and historians puzzled. The train's remarkable state of preservation is attributed to the cold, oxygen-poor waters of the Atlantic, which have slowed the rate of decay. This underwater graveyard has become a popular destination for adventurous divers and history enthusiasts alike, eager to catch a glimpse of this forgotten piece of history. When you look at this picture, it kind of looks like you're looking at the Titanic. It was archaeologists who had discovered this train graveyard off the coast of New Jersey. To this day, it's still a mystery as to how steam engines were sunk because there's no historical record of them ever being built, and with that, there's no record of them ever being lost. So the mystery continues. Number 2. Magnapina Squid. Now that we've got the anglerfish out of the way, we're going to scan the oceans and try to find something else that's a little out there because, after all, you don't need to find a new species to be amazed by what you see. All you need to do is find the subspecies. This is when you find branches of an already existing species and discover what you're looking at is completely against the norm. It might even be a little bit spooky. So if you're ready to be spooked, then listen to this one because there's a squid that kind of looks like an alien ghost, and it lives deep in the ocean. You're not going to find them close to the surface. Ghostly squids are only at the deepest levels. But thanks to researchers, we're able to learn a little bit about them. The Magnapina squid, also known as the big fin squid, is one of the most mysterious creatures of the deep, with only a handful of sightings ever recorded. Its long, thread-like tentacles are thought to be used for capturing prey, but scientists are still unsure of how they function due to the squid's elusive nature. The tentacles are so thin and delicate that they appear almost invisible in the dark, adding to the squid's ghostly reputation. Magnapina squids are typically found at depths of 7,000 to 15,000 feet, where the pressure is immense and sunlight never reaches. Their translucent bodies and slow, undulating movements make them seem otherworldly, as if they belong in a science fiction movie. Despite their eerie appearance, they are harmless to humans and play an important role in the deep-sea food chain. The discovery of these squids has sparked curiosity and excitement among marine biologists, who hope to uncover more about their behavior and biology. Hopefully, we don't have to take back our thanks after we've learned about them. The name of this next one is called the Magnapina squid, and it has cephalopods that have an undulating heart-shaped fin that's much longer than its body. This makes it kind of look ghostly in appearance. They also have tentacle filaments measuring 11 times longer than their body length. But again, you should never judge a book by its cover. Number 1. Deep-sea crop circles. Sometimes there are things beneath the ocean that leave you thinking that aliens visited the oceans at one point. We first have to look at what's synonymous with aliens. When you think of aliens, you mostly imagine little green men, maybe a spacecraft, but of course there are always crop circles. The crop circles have been a long-standing representation of alien life because no one quite knows how they got there. You usually find these crop circles in good crops, farmland, big areas out in the country. When you think of crop circles, you don't usually imagine them being under the water. That seems like it's physically impossible. Well, guess what? We're about to bring you some deep-sea crop circle. You had to know that when we mentioned crop circles, this is where we were going to take it. So as you can see from these crop circles underneath the water, it does kind of look like aliens touching down. But the truth in the matter is they came from pufferfish, and this happens at an awkward time. These crop circles pop up when they're mating. These are pretty amazing to see because they're awesomely symmetrical, and they look like they're carved into the sandy seafloor. But beauty has to be up to par if the female pufferfish wants to meet with the males because the females base their choice upon the male's construction skills. Research is still out on the exact reason why that's happened, but that's the gist of it. So unfortunately, no, it wasn't aliens taking a swim. We didn't expect the ocean to shock us as much as it did, but it definitely went above and beyond. The ocean is full of mysteries that keep leading to amazing and surprising discoveries. We'll be here to share each one with you. Until next time, stay safe when exploring the ocean,